Chapter 38-70. Not good. Damn it. We are no match for them. How did they become so powerful all of a sudden? How did this happen? More than 200 rank 7 gods were sent flying by the shockwaves from the collision between Little Blue and the star field fragment. In the next instant, they saw the ancient god Kuan Breeder's attack coming towards them. They knew about the ancient god Kuan Breeder. They knew about the Dragon King from the Dragon Palace. They knew everything. They even knew that the ancient god Kuan Breeder's 3 Kuan were equally terrifying. However, they were only comparable to a 6th-order sovereign realm giant star beast. They could still fight, or even kill it. But now, everything was out of their expectations. The ancient god Kuan Breeder and one of his Kuan had suddenly broken through. Was it really that easy to break through? If it was that easy, the 6th-order sovereign star beast that they had subdued with faith power would have been cultivated to the 7th-order sovereign realm. How could it be so easy to break through? Ever since the first 6th-order sovereign Kuan was subdued by some of the palaces in their universe, these palaces had tried to help it break through. However, it was not that easy. Especially since both sides had different cultivation systems. Even if they also had some energy that the starry sky behemoths could absorb, they couldn't break through just because they wanted to. It would take at least 100 million years to break through from the 6th order to the 7th order. It was the same for the 9 Origins universe. In the records, there was no record of an expert breaking through from the 6th order to the 7th order in just a few million years. However, the ancient god Kuan Breeder had broken through. This was completely out of their expectations. The 200-plus Tier 7 gods revealed expressions of fear when they sensed the power of a peak god approaching them. This move could kill all of them in an instant. The gap was too big. They were only at the 7th order realm. There was still a huge gap between them and a peak god. Even those with supreme treasures would not be able to withstand it. More than 200 rank 7 gods came from the power of 2 palaces. Each of the palaces had the power of a rank 9 god. Even with 2 rank 9 gods added together, there was still a huge gap between them and a peak god. Save us! Quick! Save us! The 200 rank 7 gods screamed at the 8 rank 7 gods who were controlling the star field fragment. Galaxy protection! When the 8 rank 7 gods saw this, their faces turned ugly. They gritted their teeth and injected a huge amount of energy again. A river of stars appeared in the surroundings and swept towards them. The star river enveloped the 200-odd rank 7 gods. Fly over quickly! The 8 rank 7 gods roared in unison. Boom, boom, boom! The 200 Tier 7 gods immediately flew towards the 8 Tier 7 gods with bloodshot eyes. However, Lan Qingyue's attack landed on the Galaxy Guardian. The attack was also comparable to the attack of a pinnacle pantheon, and the entire galaxy barrier trembled violently. The 200-plus rank 7 gods in the center couldn't help but vomit a mouthful of blood. Hee hee, none of you will escape today. Wang Xian sneered and looked at Lan Qingyue. Qingyue, you and Xiaolan will suppress those 8 guys. Leave the rest to me, Xiaobai and the rest. All right. Lan Qingyue nodded. In the next second, she appeared on Xiaolan's body. Woo woo woo. As for Xiaolan, she charged towards the star field fragment. That terrifying force wasn't afraid of the star field fragment at all. The star field fragment was powerful, but it was only controlled by the rank 7 gods. If it was a higher level god, they could unleash even more power. But they were still too weak. Lan Qingyue stood on Xiaolan's body. With a wave of her arm, the surroundings instantly turned into a gray ocean. Xiaolan was in the gray ocean, which made its aura even more terrifying and vast. Oh no, we are no match for them if they join forces. With the help of the star field fragment, we can only fight against 1 pinnacle galactic beast at most. They are equivalent to 2. Damn it, how did this happen? How can the Dragon Palace be so strong? The 8 rank 7 gods exclaimed in horror. When they saw the invincible Xiaolan and Lan Qingyue, their hearts skipped a beat. But at this moment, they could no longer dodge. They gritted their teeth and started to defend with all their might. Behind them, Wang Xian waved his arm, and the 5 elements grindstone attacked the 200 rank 7 gods. At the same time, the Tai Chi dragon board transformed into a divine light and darkness dragon and flew out from his surroundings to attack them. He stood on the soul warship, held the soul spear in his hand, and threw it out. Swish, swish, swish! 2 soul spears were thrown out one by one. Woo woo! Woo woo! Little Otaku, Xiaobai, and the rest growled and attacked the rank 7 gods on the other side. Back then, Wang Xian and Lan Qinghua could deal with the army of 10 rank 7 gods if they joined forces. But now, they were only dealing with the strength of 2 rank 7 gods. It was a complete suppression. Even the 5 elements grindstone alone was enough to suppress them. Not to mention that they had the strength of 2 to 3 times that of the Tai Chi dragon board. The attack of the Dragon King of Dragon Palace is here. We can hold them off. The strength of the Dragon King of Dragon Palace is not something we can handle. It's over, it's all over. How did this happen? The rank 7 gods of the 2 rank 7 gods were in despair when they saw Wang Xian charging over. They had never imagined that this would be the result. They had never expected their opponent to be so terrifying. Over 200 rank 7 gods saw Wang Xian, Xiaobai, and the rest. They unleashed their strongest attacks in an attempt to defend themselves. Arg! No! But when the energies collided, they began to crumble. Waves of horrifying 5 elements and yin-yang energy surged into their bodies, whittling away their vitality. Wang Xian stood on the soul warship and rammed it at the rank 7 gods. The soul spears pierced through the bodies of the rank 7 gods with ease. 1 soul spear pierced through a dozen rank 7 gods and killed them instantly. 2 soul spears killed nearly 30 rank 7 gods in an instant. It was a complete instant kill. Similarly, the 5 elements grindstone and the Tai Chi dragon board killed over 100 rank 7 gods instantly. Beside them, Xiaobai and Little Otaku also killed dozens of rank 7 gods in an instant. In an instant, only 30 to 40 rank 7 gods were left out of the original 200. The gap was huge. This was a battle on a completely different level. Chapter 38-71. It's over. The remaining 30 to 40 rank 7 gods looked at the terrifying Dragon King and the others with despair on their faces. The strength of the Dragon King and the others was simply too terrifying. Oh no! The 8 rank 7 gods were shocked and horrified when they saw this scene. Over 200 tier 7 gods, the peak forces of the 2 palaces, had actually been annihilated by 80% of Dragon Palace's Dragon King's group. The remaining 30 to 40 rank 7 gods could not escape at all. They could not resist at all. The strength of 2 palaces was not enough to fight against the Dragon King. They knew this very well. The remaining 30 to 40 rank 7 gods would not be able to escape either. This was not what scared them the most. What scared them the most was that the terrifying astral behemoth and the ancient god Kun breeder had completely suppressed the stellar realm fragment. I'm afraid our faith universe is going to suffer heavy losses this time. One of the rank 7 gods could not help but growl in a low voice. Woo woo woo! You will be the next to die! At this moment, Xiao Lan's growl and Lan Qinghua's voice rang in their ears. Around them, the gray ocean was pressing down on them. Planet explosion! The 8 rank 7 gods had ugly expressions as they injected a large amount of faith energy into the stellar realm fragment. Their eyes were bloodshot as they growled. Hum! From within the stellar realm fragment, an unstable planet slowly formed, as though it could explode at any time. It could erupt with terrifying power. Kun devour! Xiao Lan saw the unstable planet, and immediately opened its mouth. A kun formed from condensed energy opened its horrifying mouth and swallowed the planet. Hum! Boom! Boom! The planet had just been swallowed when a terrifying explosion occurred within it. However, this explosion only caused the condensed kun to dissipate immediately. The gray sea water around them was still rushing towards them. It's over! We can only fight against one. We can't fight against two. I can't accept this. Seeing this, the 8 rank 7 gods roared in despair and unwillingness. Walala! However, in the next second, waves of seawater rushed over and their voices disappeared. They could not stop it. The star field fragment's power could only block Little Blue at most. With the addition of Lan Qingwei, it would be impossible. Under such circumstances, the weakness of relying on external forces became apparent. 8 rank 7 gods were instantly killed. Not good, the 8 envoys were killed. When the remaining 40 tier 7 gods saw this situation, they despaired. Whoosh 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 whoosh. However, Wan Xian did not hesitate at all. He flew in front of them and sent streams of energy into their bodies. Instant kill. Another instant kill. This was not a fight against a cataclysm. With a wave of his arm, Wan Xian kept all the corpses with a smile. Xiao Xian, it's settled. Lan Qingwei smiled faintly as she spoke to Wan Xian. Wan Xian nodded his head and looked at the location of the star region fragment. The star field fragment floated there and didn't fly away like last time. With a move of his body, he immediately flew over, and a palm formed from condensed energy reached out to grab him. Bam! However, this caused the star domain fragment to tremble once more, and it flew directly in a certain direction. Huh! When Lan Qingwei saw this, she waved her arm, and a stream of energy intercepted the star domain fragment. 111! The energy released by Lan Qingwei had blocked the star domain fragment. The star domain fragment trembled and didn't break free immediately. She can stop it? Wan Xian's eyes lit up when he saw this. Swish! However, in the next second, the star domain fragment broke free from Lan Qingyue's defense and continued flying in another direction. Let's see if we can hold it in place. Wan Xian shouted and immediately went to Xiao Lan's body. Woo woo! Woo woo! Xiao Lan let out a low growl and immediately gave chase. Lan Qingwei immediately followed by the side and chased after the star domain fragment. 111! 111! However, just as Wan Xian and the rest were chasing the star beast, at the giant starry sky city, just as the experts and disciples of all the races were discussing about the Dragon Palace and the Phoenix Clan, an anxious voice suddenly sounded. The entire giant starry sky city shook slightly. Everyone instantly realized that there was an enormous shadow of the Radiance Angel floating in the sky above the giant starry sky city. Below it, they could see the shadow of 10 enormous black tortoises emerging. The entire giant starry sky city was instantly activated with a series of terrifying defensive arrays. The entire heaven and earth seemed to have undergone a huge change. What's happening? Everyone was slightly taken aback when they saw this scene. Their faces were filled with shock. The army of the universe of faith is attacking. All experts above the level of Dominator climb the city walls of the giant starry sky city and come to the designated positions of the races. At this time, a voice resounded in everyone's mind. The army of the universe of faith is here. They are really here. Those damn guys. Our entire giant starry sky city has undergone a horrifying change. What's that shadow of the Radiance Angel in the sky? It looks so horrifying. And the shadow of the black tortoise below. Is this the defense of our giant starry sky city? When the experts and disciples of all the races heard this voice, their faces were filled with astonishment. The existences at the level of Dominator immediately flew towards the city walls. As for the rest of the disciples, they followed closely behind and looked into the distance. Huh! Why can't I see anything? The army of the universe of faith is not here yet? Our giant starry sky city naturally discovered their arrival in advance. It's already too late for us to react when we see the giant starry sky city. The group of experts and disciples flew into the sky. When they saw all the experts of the apex races looking in one direction, they also looked in that direction. However, they did not see anything. They're here. The army of the universe of faith is here. I want to see exactly how strong the universe of faith is. At the same time, at the strongest position of the city walls, the experts of the 13 apex races stood in front of the city walls. One by one, the experts of the apex races murmured. In the recent tens of millions of years of war, the Nine Origins cosmos did not have a complete understanding of the strength of the universe of faith. Now that the army of the universe of faith had arrived, even if it was not 100% of its strength, it was at least 90%. This was a good opportunity to find out more. Chapter 3872. In front of the city, all the experts from the various races stared coldly in front of them. Behind them, all the disciples gradually calmed down as they stared at the city in front of them. They were waiting for the arrival of the universe of faith's army. 5 minutes passed. Accompanied by a roar, an incomparably huge army appeared in front of everyone. The huge army was divided into 20 smaller armies. Although they were called small armies, each army had millions of disciples. The first thing that entered their line of sight were 10 incomparably huge cities in the starry sky. A sixth-order sovereign realm star beast was comparable to 10 ninth-order sovereigns from the Nine Origins universe. Other than the 10 eye-catching star beasts, there was also an illusory image floating in the center. There were also some images condensed from faith power. Every single one of them contained a tremendous amount of power. Above the giant starry sky city, the expressions of all the experts from the Peak clans changed slightly when they saw this scene. The power of the universe of faith is much stronger than we imagined. I thought they would have 16 or 17 armies at most. I didn't expect them to have 21 armies. The pupils of the experts from the Peak clans shrank slightly as they murmured. Their faces were filled with shock. On the other hand, the expressions of Prime Minister Turtle and the others didn't change. No one knew the power of the universe of faith better than the Dragon Palace. In fact, the universe of faith had sent their strongest force to deal with the Dragon King. A fragment of heaven's origin fortune. This universe of faith is really terrifying. I heard that the forces of the universe of faith are divided into 24 palaces. Do these armies represent the palaces? How can they be so strong? Look at the front of those armies. They either have the strength of a sixth-order sovereign realm star beast, or they have the strength to fight against a sixth-order sovereign realm star beast. Is this the strength of the universe of faith? My God, look at the number of experts in each army that can match our seventh-order sovereigns. There are over 100 of them in each army. How is this possible? Also, there are 70 to 80,000 experts in each army that make me feel suffocated. They should all be existences of the God realm. Aren't they a little too strong? I feel like they are much stronger than our Nine Origins universe. An incomparably shocked voice came from behind. Not many disciples below the 9 essences hegemon level were participating in this battle. They had been obediently listening to all kinds of orders, either to retreat here or to leave this place. Most of them had never seen the powerful army of the faith universe. Now that they saw the power of the universe of faith, they were all shocked beyond belief. It seems like the 9 essences universe's forces at the city walls are only half of the conviction universe's forces. That's 2 million sovereigns we're talking about. Some of the disciples at the peak of the venerable realm made a comparison, and their faces were filled with shock. The number of faith universe army powerhouses exceeded their expectations. It also surpassed the number of experts from the peak races of the Nine Origins universe. Yes, every small legion has at least 70 to 80,000 soldiers, but what about us? The Dragon Palace only sent a few thousand sovereign realm experts, and most of them are below the third-order sovereign realm. It seems the gap between us and the faith universe is huge. Everyone felt a sense of pressure as they murmured to themselves. Faith universe's strength has indeed exceeded our expectations. A seventh-order sovereign realm sorcerer from the sorcerer tribe said with a frown. The experts from the peak races around him nodded their heads silently. A powerful wave of pressure surged over. However, there was no fear on their faces. They were still 100% confident in the giant starry sky city. Ha! Trash from the Nine Origins universe. Are you thinking of relying on this broken city to protect yourselves? At this time, an incomparably arrogant voice came from the opposite side. Although there was a language barrier, everyone could understand what he was saying through the spiritual fluctuations. His words caused the expressions of all the experts and disciples of the Nine Essences cosmos to sink. Humph, trash from the faith universe. Do you think you can break our giant starry sky city with your strength? Today, none of you will return alive! The great devil of the devil race glared at them and roared in a low voice. Ha ha ha, none of us will return alive? With just a bunch of trash from the Nine Origins universe? Come on out! Let us see how many experts your Nine Origins universe has and what you have to compete with our faith universe. One of the rank 7 gods from the faith universe laughed maniacally. The 21 legions of the faith universe. They slowly arrived in front of the giant starry sky city. They stopped in the void and swept their gazes across the experts and disciples on the giant starry sky city. Their faces were filled with mockery and disdain. In a moment you will know what we have to compete with you. An old man with the aura of a scholar from the sage bloodline replied coldly with a fan in his hand. Haha, at a glance, the Nine Origins universe only has this many experts. What trash! I think all of you are turtles hiding in your shells. Do you have the guts to come out and fight with us? One of the rank 7 gods sneered. I heard that this giant starry sky city was built by the Nine Origins universe using a large amount of treasures to protect their lives. Haha, they only dare to hide in here. How could they dare to come out and fight with our faith universe? From what I can tell, the Nine Essences universe can't even compare to our faith universe. If the true cataclysm comes, all of the living beings in this tiny Nine Essences universe will become our believers. They'll prostrate themselves at our feet and sing praises of our greatness. That's right. I thought the Nine Origins universe was strong. Now that I look at it, TSK, what trash! The rank 7 gods from the 24 palaces sized up the giant starry sky city and sneered. Their faces were filled with arrogance and disdain. Their arrogant words spread throughout the giant starry sky city, causing all the experts and disciples of the Nine Origins universe to have ugly expressions. However, there was nothing they could do to retort. Without relying on the giant starry sky city, they were indeed no match for the faith universe's army. Their strength made the experts and disciples of the Nine Origins universe feel invincible. Without the giant starry sky city, they would most likely have to flee. Chapter 3873. These damned fellows are too arrogant. That's right, those trash from the faith universe are too arrogant. Sooner or later, we will make them pay a terrible price. All the experts and disciples from the Nine Origins universe had ugly expressions on their faces when they heard their arrogant provocation. But there was nothing they could do. They didn't even have the confidence to retort. Prime Minister Turtle and the others raised their brows when they heard the words of the Faith Universe's gods. Faith Universe's gods, don't be too arrogant. Prime Minister Turtle's eyes flickered as he said indifferently. Ha! Arrogant! What can you do to us if we are arrogant? If you have the guts, come out and fight with us. Ha! Are you afraid? Don't worry, even if you stay in this city, we will slaughter all of you. One of the rank 7 gods snorted disdainfully when he heard Prime Minister Turtle's words. You guys are very strong, but it's still not enough to break through the defenses of the Starry Sky City. It's hard to say who will win this battle. Prime Minister Turtle replied indifferently. Who do you think you are? You are equivalent to us rank 3 gods, and you still dare to talk to us? Is your Nine Origins universe so trash that you need a rank 3 god to speak? Ha! In the Faith Universe's army, a Tier 7 god glared at Prime Minister Turtle and said disdainfully. He then looked at the experts and disciples of the 13 apex races and said, I've heard that the Nine Origins universe isn't weak, but it seems like it's nothing much. When the cataclysm arrives, you guys will be the first to be destroyed. Haha, I indeed don't have the qualifications to talk to you, but my Dragon Palace does. Prime Minister Turtle stared at them and replied plainly. Your Dragon Palace is still too weak. You should be the first to make a fool of yourself. Just as Prime Minister Turtle finished his sentence, A seventh-order sovereign realm expert from the Phoenix clan suddenly spoke up. Ha! Some of the experts from the Angel clan also sneered and glanced at Prime Minister Turtle and the others. Although the Phoenix clan's experts' words weren't loud, and the Faith Universe's experts couldn't hear them from the front, the Nine Origins Universe's disciples heard them loud and clear. They looked at the Dragon Palace with twinkling eyes. It does seem like. Dragon Palace? You are the subordinates of Dragon Palace's Dragon King? The forces of the Dragon Palace's Dragon King, I'll let you suffer a fate worse than death when I break through your city. However, just as the eyes of the experts and disciples of the Nine Essences universe were flickering with different thoughts, a cold roar came from up ahead. Hee hee, yes. Hearing their words, Prime Minister Turtle chuckled. What's going on? I don't know. What's going on? Those people who believe in the universe seem to hate the Dragon King very much? This sudden scene caused all the experts and disciples of the Nine Essences cosmos to be slightly shocked. Dragon Palace, you are the subordinates of the Dragon King of Dragon Palace. Your Dragon King has been trapped by our Faith Universe for more than 30 million years. Do you think he can escape and survive? If the Dragon King of Dragon Palace dies, all the disciples of Dragon Palace will die too. A Tier 7 god from one of the 21st Legion's headquarters said with a look of extreme hatred. He was an expert from the Heavenly Imperial Palace, and he had a relative who had been killed by Wang Xian. Your Faith Universe has gathered half of its forces and still failed to destroy our Dragon King after tens of millions of years. Don't even think about destroying us in the future. On the contrary, your Faith Universe will be destroyed one by our Dragon King. Prime Minister Turtle said plainly. Do you think your Dragon King can escape this time? Our Faith Cosmos has used the Heaven Origin Fortune Treasure Fragment. Do you think your Dragon King can withstand it? Don't worry, we'll wipe you out. Next, we'll pay a visit to your Dragon King and take his head. Not far from the Heavenly Imperial Palace Legion, the experts from the Order Palace said with murderous intent. Hee hee. Prime Minister Turtle chuckled coldly. Who doesn't know how to brag? Heaven Yuan Palace is a good example. What the fuck, what's going on? The Dragon King of Dragon Palace has been trapped for more than 30 million years? The Dragon King of Dragon Palace has mobilized half of the forces of the entire Faith Universe to resist him, and even used the Heaven Yuan Fortune Treasure Fragment. This? Oh my god, what has the Dragon King of Dragon Palace done? That can't be right? This is a conversation between Prime Minister Turtle and the celestial beings of the Faith Universe. This is too terrifying. The Faith Universe has mobilized half of its forces to resist the Dragon King, and now the Dragon King has been trapped for more than 30 million years. Even with the Heaven Yuan Fortune Treasure Fragment, they still can't defeat the Dragon King? This? What has the Dragon King done? What's the lesson from the mistakes of Heaven Yuan Palace? At this moment, the experts and disciples of all the races in the Nine Source universe widened their eyes in disbelief and horror. What did they hear? What did the Dragon King of Dragon Palace do when all the experts and disciples were unaware? How could he infuriate the entire Faith universe? They were even gritting their teeth. What was the lesson from the mistakes of Heaven Yuan Palace? On the city wall, the experts of the various races were also looking at Prime Minister Turtle, their expressions changing constantly. The Dragon King of Dragon Palace is very strong. Without him, our Faith universe would have wiped out all the trash in your Nine-Source universe tens of millions of years ago. However, it's not too late to wipe them out now. Before the cataclysm, we will descend upon your Nine-Source universe and wipe out your Dragon Palace. In the center of the Faith universe's army, a rank 7 god said with a sinister expression. Hearing this, all the experts and disciples of the Nine-Source universe were shocked again. Without the Dragon King, they would have been wiped out tens of millions of years ago. This? The reason they were not wiped out and chased out of the starry universe was because of the Dragon King of Dragon Palace? However, when they looked at the powerful army and strength of the Faith universe, they felt that the possibility was very high. At least back then, their Nine-Source universe did not have such a powerful starry city. In that case, the reason they could fight with the Faith Universe for tens of millions of years was because the Dragon King of Dragon Palace had restrained half of the forces of the Faith Universe? Was that why they could resist the Faith Universe for so long? Thinking of this, everyone could not help but gasp, and their faces were filled with shock. The Dragon Palace was completely different from what they had imagined. Chapter 38-74. The Dragon King of the Dragon Palace. In front of the city wall, all the powerhouses of the peak races stared at Prime Minister Turtle. Shock was written all over their faces. Prime Minister Turtle, has the Dragon King been fighting the Faith Universe's army? A great elf from the fairy race couldn't help but ask Prime Minister Turtle. Yes. 30 to 40 million years ago, our Dragon Palace entered the Faith Universe's territory. Prime Minister Turtle turned his head and nodded with a smile. There are 24 palaces in the universe of Faith, each with an army. Each army has 7 or 8 pantheon experts. Each palace has a powerful trump card. Right now, experts from 2 palaces are using the Heaven Origin Fortune Shard to trap our Dragon King in an area. As for the Primordial Heaven Palace army, they have been wiped out by the Dragon King. As Prime Minister Turtle spoke, the experts from the peak races were even more shocked. At present, there are still 2 legions that can restrain the Dragon King with the help of the fragment of a treasure like the Fortune of Heaven's Origin? That was the Heaven Origin Fortune. A treasure of this level was simply equivalent to an invincible existence. It was equivalent to a Heaven Origin Fortune expert. Even if it was just a fragment, it was still a terrifying existence. It could at least unleash the destructive power of a peak sovereign realm expert, right? 2 legions and such treasures had merely trapped the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace in one place for over 30 million years without killing him. How terrifying was the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace and the rest? How much had the Dragon Palace done for the Nine Sources universe in the past tens of millions of years? If the Faith Universe really possessed such terrifying power, the peak races of the Nine Sources universe wouldn't be a match for the 24 palaces and 24 armies. In fact, the gap was huge. I didn't expect the Dragon King to have done so much. The great fairy of the fairy clan sighed slightly. She looked around and said, "It seems that some races have wrongly blamed the Dragon Palace. Without the Dragon Palace, it's hard to say whether our Nine Origins universe could have established itself in the Starry Sky universe." His words made some of the experts from the top clans around him nod silently. It turns out that we have wrongly blamed the Dragon King. The Dragon King has contributed more to the Nine Sources universe than all the other peak races combined. Isn't that right? For the past tens of millions of years, the Dragon King has actually gone up against half of the Faith Universe's forces. How terrifying! The Dragon Palace has indeed contributed more to the Nine Origins universe than the other peak races. The Dragon Palace is the true hero behind the scenes. We actually blamed them not too long ago. At the back, the disciples of all the races whispered to each other. Some disciples looked at the Phoenix race and the Angel race with flickering eyes. At this moment, all the experts and disciples of the Phoenix clan looked extremely embarrassed. After all, they had just launched an attack on the Dragon Palace not long ago. They had even openly provoked the Dragon Palace, saying through the communication stone plate that the Dragon Palace had not made any contributions to the Nine Origins universe, and that they were not worthy of being one of the top races in the Faith universe. But now, this was simply a slap in the face. Most importantly, the strength of the Dragon Palace's Dragon King had exceeded the expectations of the Phoenix clan. Putting everything else aside, the strength of the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace and the others was not something that the Phoenix clan could fight against. Now that they had provoked the Dragon Palace and even killed more than a dozen experts of the Dragon Palace, what if the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace came back for revenge? On the Angel clan's side, all the experts and disciples frowned. Their complexions were similarly ugly. Attack! Don't waste your breath with them. Kill all the people from the Nine Origins universe first, then go and kill the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace. At this moment, the cold voices of the Faith Universe's gods came from the front. Boom, boom, boom! In the next second, waves of extremely terrifying energy spread out from their bodies. More than 20 million worshippers from the cosmos unleashed a terrifying aura. The weather changed, the sky changed color, and the stars changed color. The immense faith power caused serious expressions to appear on the faces of all of the experts and disciples in the Nine Essences cosmos. The experts of the faith universe were too strong. The power of the faith universe is indeed not something we can fight against. An expert from the fairy race muttered. Some of the experts around nodded in agreement. I really wonder how the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace is going to deal with half of the faith universe's power. A disciple muttered in the back. This was the might of the 21 legions of the faith universe. Without the protection of the Starry Sky City, just this boundless might alone would be enough to instantly kill them. Prepare the array formation to defend. Ready! Buzz, buzz. Buzz, buzz. Buzz, buzz. At this moment, all the experts of the witch race shouted and activated the array formation. Buzz, buzz. Buzz, buzz. However, just as all the experts and disciples of the Nine Origins universe thought that war was about to break out, just as the experts of the Faith universe were about to make their move, suddenly, all the rank 7 gods received a message. All of them received a message. The sudden emergency message stunned all the rank 7 gods of the Faith universe. Without hesitation, they immediately opened their communication devices. Because this news was an urgent message from the elders in the palace. Even if war was about to break out, they had to investigate. However, when they opened the message and saw the contents, their eyes widened in disbelief. This is impossible! How is this possible? How is this possible? Immediately, the rank 7 gods roared in shock. They had received an order. An order to retreat. And there was naturally a reason for this order. All the experts who had gone after the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace had been killed. All by the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace and the ancient god Kun Breeder. The ancient god Kun Breeder and Akun were already comparable to the pinnacle gods of the Faith universe. Now, their palace elder had ordered them to retreat. And all the legions were to disperse to prevent the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace from attacking. Looking at the order to disperse and escape, and not be discovered by the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace. All the rank 7 gods had ugly expressions on their faces. They had just told the experts of the Nine Origins universe that they would destroy the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace. But now, the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace had destroyed the experts of the Faith universe. This? However, the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace already had a pinnacle existence among the gods. It was no longer something they could resist. Once they were discovered by the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace, they would suffer heavy losses. If the 21 gods of the Dragon Palace were to die here, the Faith universe would not be able to bear such a loss. Chapter 3875. Retreat! Retreat immediately! All disciples of Faith universe, retreat! In front of the cosmic city, the terrifying army of Faith universe exuded an aura that shook the heavens. The sky changed color, and the stars changed color. In the starry sky giant city, all the experts and disciples had solemn expressions on their faces. Even though they knew that the cosmic city was extremely powerful, they did not feel 100% confident when they saw the terrifying army of Faith universe. What if Faith universe brought out an even greater trump card? However, just as all the experts and disciples of the Nine Essences universe thought that a war was about to break out, all the rank 7 gods of Faith universe suddenly roared. They actually gave the order to retreat. All the experts and disciples of the Nine Essences universe were slightly taken aback when they heard this order, their faces filled with astonishment. What was going on? On purpose? Or, what's going on? Don't know? Is this part of their plan? Some experts of the apex races could not help but growl. What? Sir, why are we suddenly retreating? What's going on? It wasn't just the experts and disciples of the Nine Essences universe who were stunned. Even the gods and their followers who worshipped in the universe who were below the rank of 7 were stunned. What was going on? Their aura was already rising, so why were they suddenly retreating? Some of the rank 6 gods could not help but ask. Something has happened to the Dragon King of Dragon Palace. Retreat immediately! One of the rank 7 gods replied before issuing another order. Something has happened to the Dragon King of Dragon Palace? When all the gods and believers of the universe heard this, their bodies trembled violently. Something had happened to the Dragon King of Dragon Palace? What did this mean? This meant that the experts chasing after the Dragon King of Dragon Palace had been annihilated by the Dragon King. In order to deal with the Dragon King of Dragon Palace, Faith Universe had used the fragment of the Heavenly Origin Fortune treasure. This represented the strongest combat power of Faith Universe. Yet, something had still happened. This also meant that the strength of the Dragon King of Dragon Palace was not something that Faith Universe could contend against. This meant that the Dragon Palace could slaughter the cosmos that they believed in and their armies. How is this possible? Some of the rank 6 gods could not help but growl. Their auras started to rapidly decline. Let's go! At this moment, the rank 7 gods roared and immediately turned to leave. They were even more aware of the severity of the situation. The ancient god Kun, breeder of the Dragon Palace, was comparable to a peak deity. Moreover, there were 2 of them at this level. If they came to hunt them down, even if all the legions of the 21 palaces joined forces, they would not be a match for them. One must know that the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace was extremely powerful. If they were intercepted by the Dragon King of Dragon Palace, it would be a miracle if 1,000,000 of their 21 armies could survive. Now, before the Dragon King of Dragon Palace could react, they had to escape first. Moreover, they had to escape in different directions. Next, a scene that left all the experts and disciples of the 9 essences cosmos shocked appeared. The 21 armies of the Faith Universe, more than 20 million gods and believers, quickly flew into the distance. No, it wasn't flying away, it was more like escaping. Their faces were filled with anxiety. They received orders from the experts above, otherwise they wouldn't have retreated. A 7th Order Sovereign Realm expert standing in front of the city walls couldn't help but ask. I think I heard one of the 7th Order Sovereigns say that something happened to the Dragon King of Dragon Palace. On the Tiger God tribe's side, a 7th Order Sovereign Realm Wind Tiger God opened its mouth and spoke. This was something he had vaguely heard. Yes, something happened to the Dragon King of Dragon Palace. Something happened to the Dragon King of Dragon Palace, forcing the entire Faith Universe's army to retreat. What happened? What did the Dragon King do to the Faith Universe? On the Elf race's side, a 7th Order Sovereign Realm Great Elf nodded in agreement. Not only did the Tiger God tribe experts hear it, but other 7th Order sovereigns also heard it. As they spoke, their faces were filled with shock. Something happened to the Dragon King of Dragon Palace. In the end, the terrifying 21 armies of the Faith Universe, more than 20 million gods and believers, fled. How terrifying was this? What did the Dragon King of Dragon Palace do this time? The few 7th Order sovereigns did not bother to conceal their words, and all the disciples behind them heard them loud and clear. They looked at the disappearing figures of the Faith Universe's army and watched them flee, and all of them swallowed a mouthful of saliva. After a few seconds of silence, an uproar broke out. Oh my God! What did the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace do to actually make the Faith Universe army flee? This is unbelievable. Something happened to the Dragon King of Dragon Palace, and they immediately fled. What did the Dragon King do? An expert from the Faith Universe used a fragment of Heaven's Origin Fortune to trap the Dragon King. Could he have been killed by the Dragon King? That's very possible. The Dragon King must have displayed some terrifying strength. Otherwise, they wouldn't have fled. How strong is the Dragon King and his army? Incomparably shocked discussions broke out. Everyone's face was filled with shock, and some of the experts and disciples revealed expressions of awe and worship. The terrifying war that was about to erupt had actually ended because of the Dragon King. The Faith Universe's army, which was even stronger than their Nine Origins universe, had actually fled. This was unbelievable. This caused them to feel awe and respect towards the Dragon King of Dragon Palace. Is this the Dragon King of Dragon Palace? Using his own strength to fight against the entire Faith Universe. How terrifying! How is this possible? The Phoenix race and Angel race were dumbfounded. Just because something happened to the Dragon King of Dragon Palace, the Faith Universe's army had fled. This scene made them feel extremely absurd. A single Dragon King had actually scared the entire Faith Universe's army into fleeing. Then, how terrifying was the Dragon King and his army? The Phoenix race's experts and disciples were dumbfounded. They had just provoked the Dragon Palace, and now something like this happened? The stronger the Dragon Palace was, the worse the news was for them. They even hoped that a war would break out. They hoped that the Dragon King of Dragon Palace would be killed by the Faith Universe's experts. But now, the current Dragon King of Dragon Palace was extremely terrifying, and it seemed like the Phoenix race couldn't contend against him. At least in the universe, they couldn't compare to the Dragon Palace. Chapter 3876. Hee hee! When Prime Minister Turtle saw this scene and heard the exclamations around him, his face lit up with excitement. Over the past few days, all the experts and disciples of the Dragon Palace had seen all the information from the communication stone plate. However, without Wang Xian's order, Prime Minister Turtle did not make any response. He had revealed some information just now to let all the pinnacle races know how much the Dragon Palace had sacrificed in the war between the Nine Source Universe and the Faith Universe. Now, he saw the army of the Faith Universe fleeing because of the Dragon King. He was all smiles. Prime Minister Turtle had a clear understanding of Wang Xian's situation. He also knew that the Dragon King had made a breakthrough. Their ancient god Dragon Queen, the Kun Breeder, had also made a breakthrough. The Dragon Queen had made a breakthrough, and all the gods surrounding the Dragon King had been killed. The news of the Dragon Queen's breakthrough had also reached the Faith Universe. Therefore, the experts of the Faith Universe were a little afraid. The army of the Faith Universe retreated immediately. Prime Minister Turtle, do you know something? What the hell is going on? A skeleton king from the skeleton clan could not help but ask when he heard Prime Minister Turtle's laughter. Now, he was really too curious. He was curious about what had happened to the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace. What kind of situation could force the army of the Faith Universe to retreat directly? Upon hearing the words of the skeleton clan, the rest of the experts from the pinnacle races all turned to Prime Minister Turtle. I know the exact situation, but I guess our Dragon King has escaped the blockade of the Faith Universe. Prime Minister Turtle replied with a smile. All the experts from the pinnacle races twitched their mouths when they heard his words. Was it as simple as the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace escaping the blockade of the experts from the Faith Universe? Escaping the blockade and causing the army of the Faith Universe to be so terrified and flee? Who would believe that? However, there is one thing that the Dragon Palace would like to clarify today. A few days ago, a dozen of our disciples were killed. Our Dragon King also knew about this, but the Dragon Palace did not make any statement. Prime Minister Turtle suddenly changed his tone as he swept his gaze across the pinnacle races and the experts and disciples of all the races. In the end, it landed in the hands of the Phoenix clan. First, according to the Phoenix clan, our Dragon Palace disciples robbed their treasures, so their experts besieged and killed them. Now, our Dragon Palace is ready to pay a high price to resurrect more than a dozen of our disciples. After resurrection, our Dragon Palace will find out the truth of the matter. If it is really our Dragon Palace disciples who made a mistake first, our Dragon Palace will admit it. If it's not our Dragon Palace's fault, as an old official, I have no idea how our Dragon King will handle this matter. Hee hee. Prime Minister Turtle smiled faintly at the end of his sentence. As for how the Dragon King would deal with it, everyone in the Nine Origins universe knew how the Dragon King did things. He had led the Dragon Palace all the way here. No matter what advanced race you are, kill! I don't care if you have the backing of a peak race behind you. Kill! I don't care if you're the invincible domain's invincible, kill! I don't care if you are a peak race expert, I will kill you! Over the past tens of millions of years, the experts and disciples of the Nine Origins universe had come to understand the Dragon Palace's style of doing things. In the past tens of millions of years, the Dragon Palace had not provoked any forces and had even suppressed other high-level clans. The Dragon Palace's style was that they would not provoke others if they didn't provoke them. However, if someone provoked the Dragon Palace, given the Dragon King's style, the culprit would definitely pay a terrible price. Prime Minister Turtle did not finish his sentence, but everyone knew what the consequences would be. When the experts and disciples of the Phoenix clan heard Prime Minister Turtle's words, their faces turned extremely ugly. Their faces were all gloomy. Especially those experts of the Phoenix clan who knew the truth. Their faces were even uglier. This Dragon Palace's declaration is so domineering. I wonder what the truth is this time. I don't know. In any case, the Dragon Palace's current strength is definitely not afraid of any peak race. If there is really a force deliberately provoking us, they will have to pay a terrible price this time. I'm now a die-hard fan of the Dragon King and will support whatever the Dragon King does. At the back, some experts and disciples of the high-level races couldn't help but whisper among themselves. They didn't dare to say it out loud because the Phoenix clan was also there. However, many experts and disciples' gazes were focused on the Phoenix clan. Moreover, their gazes were a little strange. In short, do your best. No one can bully our Dragon Palace. Prime Minister Turtle added indifferently. He cupped his hands at the rest of the peak races and left immediately. The experts of the other peak races exchanged a look and swept their gazes towards the Phoenix clan. From the expressions of some experts of the Phoenix clan, they could guess the truth of the matter. This time, it was probably the Phoenix clan who provoked them first. We don't have to worry. Even if the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace is very strong, he will at most have the strength of a peak sovereign realm. Our Phoenix clan has already contacted a giant space beast race in the starry sky cosmos. With their help, we will be fine. A seventh-order sovereign phoenix transmitted a message to the clansman beside him with an ugly expression on his face. When the clansmen heard this, their expressions relaxed a little. That's right. We don't have to worry. As long as the expert from the giant space beast race comes, we won't be afraid of the Dragon Palace's Dragon King. One of the seventh-order sovereign realm water phoenixes nodded its head heavily. They firmly believed. This was their only hope. After all, the might displayed by the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace this time had completely frightened them. Even the entire Faith Cosmos feared the Dragon King. What was the Phoenix clan to them? Wan Xian was unaware of the situation in the Starry Sky City. He also didn't know that even though he didn't come, he had put on an act. He had become the hero in the hearts of all the experts and disciples in the Nine-Source Cosmos. At this moment, he was standing on Xiaolan's body, chasing after the stellar domain fragment in a frenzy. That was a heavenly Yuan creation-grade treasure. He wanted to get his hands on it. Even if the chances were slim, he wanted to fight for it with all his might. Buzz! Buzz! Xiaolan and Lan Qingyue's powers wrapped around the stellar domain fragment. However, even though Xiaolan and Lan Qingyue were strong, the stellar domain fragment's ability to break free was also terrifying. Are you confident? Wang Xian asked Lan Qingyue as he looked at the stellar domain fragment that was struggling to break free. No confidence. Lan Qingyue replied with a solemn expression. It's highly possible that a heavenly Yuan creation grade expert has placed a restriction on it to prevent it from being lost. Wang Xian was indignant. Chapter 3877 Rumble, Rumble, Rumble. The star field fragment continued to fly forward, breaking free from the obstructing energy. Lan Qingyue and Xiaolan couldn't do anything about this star field fragment. Moreover, the speed of the star field fragment was getting faster and faster. It wouldn't be long before the distance between them and the star field fragment widened. Wang Xian felt helpless as well. It seemed like he wouldn't be able to get his hands on this star field fragment. Lan Qingwei also shook her head helplessly. This might require an even stronger force to be able to intercept it. Forget it! Wang Xian shook his head and said to Lan Qingwei. Roar, roar, roar! However, just as he finished his sentence, a wave of horrifying energy shrouded them. Wang Xian and Lan Qingwei had a drastic change of expression when they sensed the terrifying and vast energy. The boundless energy gave them a domineering and invincible feeling. Although this energy wasn't targeted at Wang Xian and Lan Qingwei, the two of them felt like they were in a horrifying ocean. They were like a small ship in the ocean. As long as a wave hit them, they would be smashed into pieces. Oh no, Xiao Xian! A horrifying existence is flying towards us. Lan Qingwei looked towards the depths of the infinite starry sky and said to Wang Xian in horror. Yes, let's get away from here. Wang Xian replied immediately. Below him, Xiaolan and the rest immediately flew in the opposite direction without any orders. Swoosh! But at this moment, an explosion came from the front. In the next second, Wang Xian, Lan Qingwei and the rest saw a figure appearing out of thin air in front of them. He appeared in front of the star field fragment. His huge body covered the entire starry sky. He had an oval body, which was similar to Xiaolan and the rest. The only difference was that there were two gigantic tentacles in front of him. There was also a glowing ball on the tentacles. The entire star beast exuded an invincible aura of a king. Wang Xian's eyes narrowed when he saw the star beast appearing out of thin air. Master, Dragon King, it's the Chaos Star Beast, the powerful Wanton. At this moment, Xiaolan's voice was heard. Chaos? Wang Xian and the rest were slightly shocked. Chaos, the Chaos Star Beast. The elite star beast that lived in the Nine-Source universe. Back then, he had been the one who had opened the passageway between the Nine Essences universe and the Starry Sky universe. It was the absolute overlord of the Nine Essences universe. He was definitely a peak-level sovereign. Tens of millions of years had passed, and the suppression of the Starry Sky universe should have been removed by now. In other words, his current strength was extremely terrifying. To the astonishment of Wang Xian and the rest, after Han Dun appeared, the two glowing spheres above his head shot out a beam of light. The light shrouded the stellar domain fragment. What is he doing? They're trying to get that fragment. When Wang Xian and the rest saw it, they were shocked. One of the most powerful astral beasts in the Nine Essences universe, one of the most powerful astral beasts in the Starry Sky universe, had come here. Moreover, it was attacking the star domain fragment. His target is the star domain fragment. A treasure of this level is enough to attract star behemoths of this level. Lan Qingwen murmured. Come, let's leave this place. Wang Xian ordered Xiaolan immediately after taking a look. An existence of this level was not something they could afford to provoke. Without the suppression of the Starry Sky cosmos, peak-level sovereigns could easily kill them. They were not on the same level at all. After all, Xiaolan and Lan Qingwei were only at the 7th-order sovereign realm. The gap was too big. Such an existence was also the most powerful in the Starry Sky universe, especially when they were more intelligent than the native astral beasts. Xiaolan did not hesitate and fled immediately. Oh? However, when Wang Xian and the rest fled, the star beast suddenly looked in their direction. He did not do anything, but looked at the location of the star domain fragment with a gleam in his eyes. The fragment of the star domain was enveloped by his energy and completely restrained. It could not break free from the powerful force of the star domain fragment. It even flew towards Han Dun, a fragment of the heavenly Yuan fortune level. This is a good treasure, he mumbled to himself. Without making any movements, he suddenly turned towards the direction where Wang Xian and the rest had disappeared. It seems to be the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace. He has great potential, Han Dun murmured. Although he was a star beast, he was different from the ones in the Starry Sky universe. His intelligence was the same as the creatures in the Nine Essences universe. In fact, In the Nine Essences universe, these top-notch star beasts also used the AI. He understood the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace. The main reason was that the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace was too famous. He even knew some of his deeds in the Starry Sky universe. Wang! He pondered for a moment before disappearing in the next instant. I don't think he came after us. I wonder if he got the star domain fragment. Lan Qingwei took a glance behind and said as Xiao Lan flew forward at high speed. He should be able to get it. Wang Xian guessed. Just now, they could already put up some resistance against the star domain fragment. With the strength of a pinnacle sovereign realm expert, he should be able to stop the star domain fragment. Master, that lord is here. At this time, Xiao Lan suddenly said. Lan Qingyue's eyes narrowed, and Wang Xian's expression changed slightly. He doesn't seem to have any ill intentions. But soon Wang Xian opened his mouth and said. In front of them, the figure of Hun Dun gradually appeared. His aura was not that terrifying. He floated in the void ahead and sized up Wang Xian and the rest. Greetings, Senior Hun Dun. What can I do for you? When Wang Xian saw him, he immediately bowed and cupped his hands. Greetings, Senior Hun Dun. Lan Qingwei, Xiao Lan and the rest greeted him. Nice to meet you, Dragon King of the Dragon Palace. Hun Dun smiled and replied to Wang Xian. Upon hearing this, Wang Xian heaved a sigh of relief. If such an existence wanted to kill him, it would be too easy. What can I do for you, Senior Hun? If the Dragon Palace can do it, we will definitely not reject you. Wang Xian spoke again. I heard that the Dragon Palace has a treasure, and we would like to make a deal with you, Dragon King. Wang Xian was shocked by Hun Dun's words. A deal? A pinnacle sovereign realm expert, a top-notch existence among the starry sky beasts of the Nine-Source universe, wanted to make a deal with the Dragon Palace? I wonder what Senior Hun Dun wants to trade. Compared to the Dragon Palace, I believe the other pinnacle races have more treasures to trade with you, right? Wang Xian said with some doubts. Chapter 3878. He had not expected the chaotic galactic beast to make a deal with Wang Xian. The most powerful of the Nine Essences universe's star behemoth kings were Primal Chaos, Philian, Banyan, Bayan, Shuhao, and a few others. They could be said to be the kings of the giant star beasts. He was the leader of the starry sky beasts in the Nine Essences universe. He was surprised that someone of this level wanted to trade with him. Given their current strength, even if they were to trade with the other 12 peak-level races of the Nine Essences universe, the other 12 peak-level races wouldn't refuse. In fact, they would welcome them with open arms. The other peak clans definitely had more treasures than the Dragon Palace. The items that I want to trade are not available to other peak clans, but your Dragon Palace does. Hun Dun said. Oh? What kind of item was it? Wang Xian was taken aback as he revealed a puzzled look. At the same time, he was vigilant. The Dragon Palace had treasures that other peak clans didn't. Only items related to the progenitor tree were available. I'll be straightforward. Regarding resurrection items, the other peak clans do have such items, but it's difficult to trade them. Even if they do, they'll have to pay a huge price. Most importantly, they can't trade too many of them. Your Dragon Palace has sold resurrection treasures before, so you must have a lot of them. Hun Dun looked at Wang Xian and said with flickering eyes. This was the main reason he came to look for Wang Xian. Treasures that could bring people back to life were extremely precious even for existences of their level. They had such treasures, but they had to give some to their subordinates. After all, this thing was equivalent to a life. They do, and they want to prepare for their children. Back in the Nine Essences universe, the starry sky behemoths had lived in the mountains and seas, and such treasures had not been common. The other peak-level races also had treasured lands where they could be resurrected. However, resurrection treasures were considered priceless treasures even among the apex races. Out of 10 seventh-order sovereigns, one would be lucky to have such a treasure. As for those with lower levels, death was death. Unless he had some sort of fortuitous encounter. If the primal chaos made a deal with the other peak races, the other peak races might not agree. Resurrection treasure? Upon hearing his words, Wang Xian's eyes flickered. Speaking of resurrection treasures, the Dragon Palace simply couldn't ask for more. Now that tens of millions of years had passed, there were already hundreds of thousands of soul-returning wood embryo fruits. However, Wang Xian could not say that the Dragon Palace had so many of such treasures. If word of this got out, perhaps all the peak clans would be tempted. Even in the previous auction, Wang Xian had only auctioned a few of them. Senior Primal Chaos, we do have treasures of this level, but they are also extremely precious in our Dragon Palace. Wang Xian continued. Moreover, we don't have many of them. Can we trade? Han Dun looked at Wang Xian and asked. Upon hearing him, Wang Xian pondered for a moment. Of course, he was in deep thought on purpose. If he casually said that he could trade, then he might not be able to trade for any treasures. Therefore, he had to consider how to maximize the benefits. Our Dragon Palace's resources are still quite weak. Although we're very strong in the starry sky cosmos, we're very weak in the nine essences cosmos. Our Dragon Palace can do Senior Primordial Chaos a favor. If you have any suitable treasures, we can trade them with you, said Wang Xian. What treasure does your Dragon Palace want? I can give you the treasures you want according to the treasures you want, the Chaotic Star Behemoth said, looking at him. What do I want? Wang Xian's eyes lit up and he asked. Senior Primordial Chaos, I wonder if you've obtained the Stellar Zone fragment and can erase the energy on it. Heavenly Yuan Creation Level Fragment? The Chaotic Star Behemoth looked at Wang Xian and continued. I'm sure you know about this level of treasure, Dragon King. Even for people of our level, it's an extremely powerful and precious treasure. I know. Therefore, Senior Primordial Chaos, you should know about 1,000 soul return fetal fruits, which can resurrect people in our Dragon Palace. Can we trade for them? Asked Wang Xian. His heart was filled with anticipation. 1,000 soul-returning fetus fruits were nothing to the Dragon Palace. 1,000? However, when the Chaotic Star Behemoth heard this number, it raised its voice and revealed a surprised look. Following that, a pensive look appeared on his face. Yes, 1,000. I also know how precious the Stellar Zone fragment is. Therefore, I'm willing to trade 1,000 of them. Wang Xian nodded. It seems like the Dragon Palace has many resurrection treasures. The giant beast of chaotic starry sky smiled and said, however, the value of 1,000 resurrection fruits is indeed very high. However, compared with the Starfield fragment, it is still not enough. I can give you a Beast King's token. With this token, any giant beast of chaotic starry sky is forbidden from attacking your Dragon Palace experts and disciples. Other than that, 1,000 sixth-order sovereign realm space beasts' corpses and a treasure that's second only to the peak races like yours. This treasure is of the lightning attribute, and it's 80% complete. Other than that, I can provide you with a shelter. If you encounter any danger in the universe or anywhere else, you can come to us. Of course, there's a prerequisite. You can't provoke the Heavenly Yuan Creation Galactic Beast of the Starry Universe. How about I trade for 3,000 soul return fetal fruits with these conditions and the Stellar Zone fragment? The Chaotic Star Behemoth made a condition. Wang Xian was a little excited when he heard this condition. Regardless of anything else, he would agree to trade for the Stellar Zone fragment with just 3,000 soul return fetal fruits. Not to mention the other benefits. 1,000 galactic beast corpses were of great use. The Beast King token was also of great use. As for the protection promised by the Chaotic Star Behemoth, it might be of use as well. In short, this condition was totally acceptable. Senior Chaotic, I'd like to discuss a plan with my subordinates. Wang Xian hesitated for a moment before taking out the communication card and putting on a show. The Chaotic Star Behemoth nodded and waited quietly. We can trade, but our Dragon Palace only has over 2,730 soul return fetal fruits. As for the other 200, we need to pay for them within 100 million years. The Dragon Palace doesn't have that many at the moment. However, Senior Chaotic, Could you help me clear the energy restriction on the stellar zone fragment that worships the universe experts? After a few minutes, Wan Xian spoke to the chaotic star behemoth. 200 overfruits within 100 million years? That's not a problem. Great. The chaotic star behemoth smiled and nodded with satisfaction. There's no problem with the restriction on the stellar zone fragment either. Chapter 3879. The chaotic astral beast's eyes sparkled. Clearly, he was very satisfied with this deal. 3,000 soul-return fetal fruits that could resurrect people. This was definitely a rare treasure for the astral beasts. Moreover, the chaotic astral beast had never expected such a large number of fruits. Although he had paid the price of the Heaven Yuan creation starfield fragment. But he had just obtained this starfield fragment. In other words, he had only paid a small price in exchange for so many soul-return fruits. This was totally worth it. He had made a huge profit. Not even the other pinnacle races could produce such a large number of soul-return fruits. Seeing that the chaotic astral beast had agreed, Wan Xian suppressed the excitement in his heart. 3,000 soul-return fetal fruits in exchange for so many treasures and starfield fragment. To Wan Xian and the Dragon Palace, this was a huge profit. There were hundreds of thousands of fruits in the Dragon Palace. The reason why he said that he would give the other 200 fruits to the chaotic astral beast within 100 million years was also a facade. Although there were trees in the Dragon Palace that could produce soul-return fruits, it would take 100 million years to produce more than 200 fruits. This made it more precious. To prevent the chaotic astral beast from thinking that there were many of these fruits in the Dragon Palace. Senior Chaotic, I need the experts from the Dragon Palace to bring the soul-return fetal fruits here. It will take about 4 to 5 years. I hope you can wait for a while. Wan Xian continued to speak to the chaotic astral beast. 4 to 5 years is a short time. I will help you to remove the power of faith from the starfield fragment now, the chaotic astral beast said. Thank you, Senior Wantan. Wan Xian replied immediately. This is our deal. Speaking of which, I have high hopes for you, Dragon King. In the future, even if you can't reach the Heaven Yuan creation realm, you will still be close to the invincible realm. The chaotic astral beast smiled and said, All right, let me get rid of the power of faith in the starfield fragment first. There is the power of the Heaven Yuan creation realm in it. If it wasn't for the suppression of the universe, it would be difficult for me to remove the power of faith from it. Yes, Senior Chaotic. We will not disturb you. Wan Xian nodded and looked at Lan Qingwei. Subsequently, he sent a message to Enlai and Lan Qingwei flew far away. He wanted Lan Qingwei and Enlai to exchange blows from afar. All right, the energy inside is clear now. The power of this starfield fragment is indeed powerful. A heaven origin fortune level treasure is a universal treasure. This kind of universal treasure can be used by any expert of any energy level. In other words, a heaven origin fortune treasure can be used by any expert of the universe. The star behemoths in our universe can also use it. Plus, it's very useful to me. 4 years later, the chaotic galactic beast cleared the energy in the star zone fragment and said to Wan Xian, If we can find the remaining fragments, we might be able to restore them. Here, you can refine them first. Thank you, Senior Chaos. When Wan Xian saw him handing the star zone fragment to him directly, he was slightly taken aback. Subsequently, he cupped his fists and expressed his gratitude. He took it, sensed it, and immediately found that there was no energy inside. He could completely nurture it. Once it was successfully nurtured, it could be controlled and used. In other words, the future belonged to him. Wan Xian's eyes flickered. He could feel a tremendous amount of energy from it. Once he refined it, he would be able to unleash terrifying strength. At that time, he could inject the energy of the 5 elements grindstone and Tai Chi dragon plate into it, and it would be enough to kill the pinnacle existences in the deity realm. One had to know that the 8 deity realm experts back then were merely in the 7th order realm. With this star zone fragment, they could match the pinnacle deity realm experts. Now that Wan Xian was controlling it, and infused the energy of the 5 elements grindstone and Tai Chi dragon plate, he could kill pinnacle deity realm experts. As for how many pinnacle races he could kill, it was hard to say. But according to Wang Xian, there were at least 2. After all, this was just a heaven origin fortune fragment. There was an upper limit. At this time, he took out the communication stone plate and sent a message to Lan Qingwei. Senior, the soul returning fruit is here. It will be delivered soon. Wang Xian said to the chaotic galactic beast. Hee, alright, there's no hurry. The chaotic galactic beast replied. He waved his hand again and took out a storage item. There's a Beast King token, a letter from me, and 1,000 Sixth Order Sovereign Galactic Beast corpses. As for the treasure ground that's second only to your pinnacle races, I'll bring you there later. It's at the edge of the endless starry sea. Thank you, Senior Chaotic. Wang Xian took it and checked it. A smile appeared on his face. No need. After the cataclysm, even if we can't become friends, there's no need for us to become enemies. The giant chaotic astral beast said. Oh yes, Senior, I have a question. Why did you allow experts from the 9 Origins universe and the Faith universe to enter the Starry universe? Wang Xian could not help but ask. This was their own territory, and they naturally did not want outsiders to invade. Now that experts from the 9 Origins universe and the Faith universe were active here, he was a little puzzled. The 9 Origins universe was fine, but what about the Faith universe? We have an agreement with the 9 Origins universe. As for the Faith universe, we don't care. As for the other top-tier galactic beasts in the Starry universe, we don't care about them at all. With the Starry universe's suppression, they can't threaten them. Most importantly, due to the special nature of the Starry universe, there are no civilizations that belong to the galactic beasts in the Starry universe other than hunting techniques. Another point is that the Starry universe's strength can be ranked in the top 3 among all the other universes. Even when the cataclysm arrives, experts from other universes don't dare to come to the endless Starry universe, even if it's the heavenly origin creation realm. There are many heavenly origin creation realm galactic beasts in the endless Starry universe. As Wang Xian spoke, a look of shock appeared on Hun Dun's face. The strength of the Starry universe is so strong? He was a little surprised. Yes. Otherwise, why would we appear in the 9 Origins universe? Why haven't we been killed after appearing there? Hun Dun replied with a smile. Wang Xian nodded his head slightly. Although there were no civilizations in the Starry universe, their strength was terrifying. It was so terrifying that when the cataclysm arrived, the endless Starry universe was a pure land. No experts from other universes dared to step into it. Chapter 3880. The strength of the Starry Sky universe was beyond Wang Xian's expectations. According to the Chaos Star Behemoth, there were quite a few fortune-grade star behemoths in the infinite starry river. This surprised Wang Xian slightly. Whoosh whoosh! At this moment, Lan Qingwei flew over along with Roving Crab. Apart from some other treasures, there was also a powerful treasure land in this transaction. This treasure land was second only to the Peak Race's treasure land. Naturally, an expert from the Dragon Palace had to come and watch. With Aoxia's current strength, he was considered the strongest in the Dragon Palace besides the Mystic Dragon. Let Aoxia stand guard. Xiao Xian, the fruit of soul return is here, Lan Qingwei said to Wang Xian. Wang Xian nodded his head and gestured to her. Senior Chaos here! With a wave of her arm, Lan Qingwei threw all the soul-returning fruits to the chaotic astral beast. The 2 ball-like tentacles on top of Chaos' head moved and called him over. After sizing him up for a moment, a smile appeared on his face. All right, give me the remaining 200 or so after 100 million years. Happy trade, the chaotic star beast said with satisfaction. Happy cooperation. Wang Xian nodded his head with a smile. Let's go, I'll take you to that treasure land. I've occupied that treasure land. There are no giant beasts of starry sky there. I'll leave my aura there so that other giant beasts of starry sky won't dare to come over, the chaotic star beast said. Wang Xian and the rest felt a surge of energy shrouding them. In the next instant, the scenery around them changed. The terrifying speed made Wang Xian and the rest unable to see their surroundings clearly. When the Chaos Galactic Beast stopped, they came to a strange object floating in the middle of the ocean. This object floated in the middle of the ocean, and its surface area was comparable to a small star. Some of them looked like strange trees. It was flickering with the power of lightning. This is the place. You can enter and feel it. The lightning here contains a huge amount of life force. Wanton Galactic Beast said to Wang Xian. Wang Xian nodded his head. As he got closer, he could feel the majestic power of lightning. This power of lightning was extremely gentle. Wang Xian could even absorb it. After absorbing it, Wang Xian could sense that there was healing energy within the lightning. If Wang Xian was injured, he could recover quickly here. The central location is very beneficial to the lightning type of your 9 essences universe, as well as the lightning dragons of your dragon palace. The chaotic astral beast's voice rang out. Wang Xian sensed it and nodded his head. Thank you, Senior Chaos. The dragon palace is very satisfied with this deal. Hee, I'm also very satisfied. It's very safe here. By the way, unless you have my letter, don't step into the infinite starry sky. There are many star behemoths domains there. Once you're targeted, you'll be completely killed. Some resurrection treasures have no effect on star behemoths. Always be careful. I'm looking forward to you creating a new world for yourself, Dragon King. Han Dun said. Thank you, Senior. Wang Xian cupped his fist and replied respectfully. The sphere on the giant chaotic astral beast's horn flashed and disappeared in an instant. This Senior Chaos is pretty good. He's very trustworthy. Lan Qingwe whispered to Wang Xian as she watched him leave. Yes, I can sense that Senior Chaos has no ill intentions. Not bad. Wang Xian nodded his head and smiled at Lan Qingwe. Not a bad deal. Yes. Lan Qingwe nodded her head with a smile. Xiao Xian, something happened in the giant starry sky city. Prime Minister Turtle asked me to tell you about it. The Faith Universe Army wanted to attack the giant starry sky city. But after hearing that we had killed the group of deities, they fled and gave up on attacking the giant starry sky city. In addition, the Faith Universe Army should be aware of our strength. It will take at least 1,000 years for the 21 armies to escape from the giant starry sky city to the passage of the Faith Universe Army. Besides that, there's also the matter with the Phoenix race. A dozen of our Dragon Palace disciples who were killed have been resurrected. It won't take long for them to come back to life. At that time, the truth will be revealed. However, Prime Minister Turtle speculates that there's a 90% chance that the Phoenix race is deliberately looking for trouble. Lan Qingwe spoke again and told Wang Xian one by one. Oh? Wang Xian raised an eyebrow. We can deal with the matter of the Phoenix clan killing the disciples of our Dragon Palace later. Anyway, they won't be able to escape. Let's deal with the Faith Universe Army first. Their 21 army is a huge resource for our Dragon Palace. As Wang Xian spoke, his eyes sparkled. All the power of faith from the corpses of the experts from the Faith Universe Army would shrink into the heart of faith after their deaths. In other words, although the corpses of the experts from the Faith Universe Army could not increase the energy of the experts and disciples of the Dragon Palace. However, the power of faith had an extremely powerful effect on breaking through. Now that there were 21 Faith Universes and over 20 million deities and believers, if Wang Xian could kill some of them, the speed of improvement of the Dragon Palace would remain at a terrifying level. Now, the Faith Universe Army should be preparing to escape to the passage. Wang Xian couldn't let them go back so easily. He had been trapped for over 30 million years. Now was the time for them to pay the price. He had to annihilate at least a few armies. It would be even better if he could annihilate all of them. However, it's not impossible. Wang Xian murmured. With a swing of his arm, the star field fragment appeared in his palm. Let's go. Let's enter the treasure land first, and get Enlai to summon the Thunder Dragon from the Dragon Palace. As he spoke to Lan Qingwe, They flew into the treasure land. When they arrived at the center of the treasure land, Wang Xian sat down with his legs crossed. As long as I can refine this starfield fragment, I will have the strength to kill pinnacle deities. At that time, I won't care about the Faith Universe Army or the Phoenix Clan. I'll kill them directly, Wang Xian said to Lan Qingwei with a smile. Xiao Xian, how long will this refining take? Lan Qingwei asked Wang Xian. It might take tens of thousands of years. I'll do a simple nurturing first. Even if the Faith Universe Army has some flying treasures, it will take at least 500 to 600 years to return to the passage of the Faith Universe Army. I'll do a simple nurturing first. After 200 years, I'll look for the Faith Universe Army. Wang Xian made up his mind. He would do a simple nurturing first. It would be sufficient for him to have strength comparable to pinnacle deities. At that time, he would look for the Faith Universe Army. It was time to reap the harvest. Chapter 3881. Wang Xian had lain dormant for more than 30 million years. He did not commit suicide to leave this place. He had been waiting for the day of revenge. However, this day had come very suddenly. Not only had Lan Qingyue's strength improved, but she had also obtained a powerful stellar field fragment. This was a heavenly yuan fortune-level treasure. In the Faith Universe, the experts of the 8 palaces had fought for these 8 fragments. As for Wang Xian, he obtained it with relative ease. He would deal with the Phoenix race later. He would deal with the army of the Faith Universe first. Wang Xian entrenched himself in the center of the lightning-treasured land. The 5 elements grindstone and the Tai Chi dragon plate flew out and circled around him. They began to nurture the stellar field fragment. Only after nurturing could they be controlled and used. With the help of the Tai Chi dragon plate and the 5 elements grindstone, the speed would increase tremendously. As the days passed, more and more thunder dragons were teleported to this lightning-treasured land by and Lai. This was a treasured land, and it was indeed a rare existence. The energy it contained was only slightly less than the Fire Heart treasure land. The thunder dragons and the disciples of the Dragon Palace could cultivate at a much faster speed. With the help of the Heart of Faith, the experts of the Dragon Palace could improve at a very fast speed. Time passed day by day. 100 years later, a sudden roar came from the front of the starry sky city. After the army of the Faith Universe retreated, the entire Nine-Source universe had entered an era of peace. However, all the experts and disciples knew that the peace in the Nine-Source universe would not last long. Because the Dragon Palace would probably take revenge on the Phoenix race. Many experts and disciples from the pinnacle races and high-level races were also waiting. However, more than 100 years had passed, and the Dragon Palace had not taken any action. However, this time, the experts and disciples of the Nine-Source universe were not so anxious to think that the Dragon Palace would not take revenge. Because the Dragon King was currently in the Faith universe. If he wanted to fly over, it would take a few hundred years. There was no war, and the entire starry sky city was in peace. On this day, a sudden roar shocked all the experts and disciples in the starry sky city. They're here! They're finally here! At this moment, in the building with the symbol of the Phoenix race in the starry sky city. When the dozen 7th Order Sovereign Realm Phoenixes heard the roar, they heaved a sigh of relief in their hearts. The Green Cherry Giant Space Beast clan is here. Our Phoenix clan has already negotiated with them. They have sent 4 7th Order Sovereigns. With them around, no matter how strong the Dragon King is, what can he do to us? Let's go and welcome them. The experts of the Phoenix clan moved and flew towards the front of the starry sky giant city. Chirp, chirp, chirp. At the same time, they cried out in response. Is that the giant star beast race that the Phoenix race has contacted? It's already here. What a terrifying aura. It should be a 7th Order Sovereign Realm giant space beast. The Phoenix clan should have reached an agreement with the Galactic Beast clan. It won't be that easy for the Dragon King and the others to kill the experts of the Phoenix clan. What a terrifying aura! The Phoenix race has really contacted the giant Star Beast clan. Moreover, they have sent several powerful experts with strength comparable to a peak sovereign realm expert. In our 9 origins cosmos and the faith cosmos, they are invincible existences. The strength of the Dragon King and the others is at most comparable to a 7th-order sovereign realm giant space beast. It seems like the crisis of the Phoenix race is about to be resolved. I wonder what price they paid. In the starry sky city, the experts of the various peak forces looked in the direction of the roar when they heard it. When they saw the Phoenix race flying towards them, they muttered under their breath, "What's that over there? What's going on? Why are there giant space beasts flying towards us? Why are the Phoenix race flying towards them? What kind of giant star beast is that? It's so terrifying. It's even more terrifying than the 21 legions of the faith cosmos." Inside the starry sky city, the experts and disciples of the various peak forces were shocked when they saw this scene. The experts of the various peak forces were no longer ignorant fools. They had a better understanding of the experts in the sovereign realm. They felt that the might of the 4 giant star beasts flying over was even more terrifying than the 21 legions of the universe of faith and the more than 20 million gods and believers. In fact, they weren't even on the same level. They were incomparably shocked. In the next moment, all the experts and disciples in the starry sky city saw the experts of the Phoenix race chatting with the 4 giant space beasts before bringing them away. What's going on? Those 4 giant space beasts are in cahoots with the Phoenix race? It can't be, right? Such terrifying giant space beasts are actually acquainted with the Phoenix race? Doesn't that mean that the Phoenix race also possesses terrifying strength? Those 4 giant space beasts are definitely at the 7th-order sovereign realm. They are comparable to peak sovereign realm experts. If the Phoenix race has such experts, even the Dragon Palace's Dragon King won't be able to do anything to them. It's more than that. Even the Dragon Palace's Dragon King might not be a match for the Phoenix race. As expected of the peak forces, they actually have such a terrifying trump card. All the experts and disciples in the starry sky city were discussing. Everyone thought that the Phoenix race was going to suffer the crazy revenge of the Dragon Palace. They might have to pay a terrible price. Who would have thought that the Phoenix race would actually call over 4 terrifying giant space beasts? With such power, even if the Dragon Palace's Dragon King had reached the peak sovereign realm, the Phoenix race would still be able to contend with them. This made all the experts and disciples exclaim at the powerful trump card and strength of the peak forces once again. This would also cause a huge change in the future war between the Phoenix race and the Dragon Palace. This news quickly spread through the communication stone plate. 100 years passed quickly again. There was still no movement from the Dragon Palace. At the same time, at the lightning-treasured land, Wang Xian looked at the energy within the stellar field fragment with a smile on his face. After 200 years of nurturing, with the help of the 5 elements grindstone and the Tai Chi dragon plate, the speed of nurturing was much faster than he had expected. Moreover, the power he could control in the stellar field fragment was much stronger than he had expected. Chapter 3882. Comparable to Shaolan and Lan Qingwei. Feeling the power that he could control, Wang Xian revealed a faint smile. This star field fragment's limit should be able to kill 3 to 4 peak sovereign realm experts with the help of the star field fragment's power, he murmured. After making some connections with the Heaven's Origin Fortune, he learned that when the Heaven's Origin Fortune was in good condition, it was called the Star Domain. It could release the terrifying power of the entire star field. As for how it was destroyed, Wang Xian had no idea. However, the 8 fragments in his possession were equivalent to 1/5 of the entire Heaven Yuan Fortune fragment. In other words, there were 32 star field fragments out there. As for where the remaining fragments were, Wang Xian had no idea. In short, he was definitely not in the Faith universe. The entire Faith universe had already been searched by Heaven Origin Creation Realm experts. The rest of the fragments were in other universes. Gaining control of a portion of the power made Wang Xian even stronger now. Even without relying on Lan Qingwei and Shaolan, he could still fight against two pinnacle deities. Azure Moon! With the star field fragment in his hand, Wang Xian shouted at Lan Qingwei, who was a short distance away. Xiao Xian, are you going to make your move? Lan Qingwei immediately asked with a smile. Yes, it's time to meet the army of the Faith Universe, Wang Xian said with a smile. All right then, let's go. With our strength, as long as we lock onto them, we can easily eliminate them, Lan Qingwei said with a smile. Let's go. We'll fly with the power of the star field fragment. It'll be faster this way. With a flick of his palm, a surge of energy surged into the star's sector fragment. Meteor! He shouted in a low voice, and a meteor instantly appeared beneath them. Lan Qingwei, Xiaolan and the others immediately landed on the meteor. Buzz! The entire meteor trembled. Following that, a ray of light streaked across the sky as it sped away into the distance. This was the true terrifying speed of a meteor, as expected of a heavenly primordial fortune-level fragment. It's really powerful, Lan Qingwei exclaimed as she felt the speed. It's indeed very powerful. Back then, the 8 Tier 7 gods could already rival a peak god with the help of this fragment. In my hands I can display even greater power, Wang Xian said with a smile. Oh right, Xiao Xian, has Prime Minister Turtle reported to you what happened in the past 200 years? Lan Qingwei looked at him and asked with a smile. I've already told you. Wang Xian nodded his head. The dozen disciples of our Dragon Palace have been resurrected. It's the Phoenix clan that is looking for trouble. Now, the Phoenix race has found 4 7th-order Sovereign Realm giant space beasts as their allies. They should be from the 9 Origins universe. Lan Qingwei added and continued, I'm not sure if they are the subordinates of the chaotic galactic beast. If they are, they can't do anything to us since we have the Beast King token. There are 4 7th-order Sovereign Realm astral beasts. Even if they aren't their subordinates, we have nothing to fear. As long as they dare to help the Phoenix clan, we will slaughter them, said Wang Xian. Now, the Dragon Palace had the strength and the confidence. Lan Qingwei smiled and nodded. The meteor flew forward at high speed. They were still at the edge of the infinite starry sky. Wang Xian and the rest were relatively safe at the edge of the infinite starry sky. After flying for a few months, they flew out of the ocean. The speed of the meteor was comparable to the speed of an apex pantheon powerhouse. This speed was much faster than the 21 legions of the Faith Universe. In 200 years, they can only fly half of the distance. We just have to wait at a position close to the other half. The location of the Starry Sky City was closer to the passage to the 9 Origins universe. As for the passage to the Faith Universe, it was the opposite of the passage to the 9 Origins universe. In other words, the army of the Faith Universe had flown across the entire Starry Sky universe to invade the 9 Origins universe. At their speed, they could only fly half of the distance in 200 years. All Wang Xian had to do was to wait here. In that case, we will split up when the time comes. Lan Qingwei looked at Wang Xian and said, Wang Xian nodded. That's not all. I'll also get in line to bring Lin Waluo here with a large number of flying devices. We'll set up a spy in this void space. Once they're discovered, we'll kill them immediately. Lin Waluo was a scientist in the world of science and technology. He was considered to have joined the Dragon Palace. The Dragon Palace provided him with a large amount of powerful metals. As for him, he helped the Dragon Palace to forge powerful weapons. Now, he did not know what level Lin Waluo had reached. However, it was still a piece of cake to set up some spies in the starry sky. The world of science and technology was best at things like flying robots and surveillance. Lan Qingwei nodded. He took out the communication stone plate and sent a message to Enlai and Lin Waluo. Lin Waluo replied quickly. A few minutes later, Lin Waluo appeared in front of Wang Xian. Greetings, Dragon King. Lin Waluo looked at Wang Xian with respect and awe. Compared to the past, the awe he felt now was even stronger. Who in the Nine Origins universe did not admire the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace? He had made the entire Faith universe bow down to him with his strength alone. Such strength caused everyone to be incomparably shocked. Lin Waluo could not help but feel extremely happy for choosing to join the Dragon Palace. Get up. Wang Xian looked at him and nodded with a smile. How's the research over the past few years? Thanks to you, Dragon King, the Dragon Palace has improved their weapons. The Firehammer clan and Wu Shao's research over the past tens of millions of years have produced decent results. Now they can produce weapons that can threaten third-order sovereigns. Lin Waluo answered with a smile. Not bad. I called you over this time to seal off a Starry Sky territory. This Starry Sky territory might be very large. Just send a large number of scouting robots to investigate. Wang Xian nodded and said to him. Huh! Dragon King, are you looking for the army of the Faith universe? Lin Waluo guessed. Yes, the army of the Faith universe. They should be on their way back now. I want to intercept and kill them. Wang Xian nodded. I'm afraid the area of the seal will be very large. Just try to cover as large an area as you can. All right, Dragon King. This area is too large. I might only be able to seal off about 1/10 of the area, and that's without sealing off the center. Lin Waluo said. Sure. Wang Xian nodded. Chapter 3883. Using scientific and technological means to explore is very effective. At present, there was nothing in the Nine-Source universe that was easier to explore and monitor than technology. When the passage to the Nine-Source universe was first opened, technology was also used to explore the situation inside. Lin Waluo began to set up nano-detectors in the void around him. Each detector was extremely small, but they could cover a large area. From one location to another. The entire Starry Sky universe was so small that even after using up a large number of detectors, they could only cover 1/10 of the area. This area was already very large. However, there were still many empty spots. This was also because Wang Xian had no other choice. It was impossible to seal from one side of the Starry Sky universe to the other. Unless Lin Waluo's research results could match the power of other pinnacle races, it would be impossible to cover. However, Wang Xian was satisfied with covering 1/10 of the area. In fact, the best way was to seal the passage to the Faith universe. That way, he could completely wait for the rabbit. However, he had some reservations. If a Sky Origin Creation Realm expert from the Faith universe barged in and left immediately after killing Wang Xian, the Sky Origin Creation Realm astral beasts in the Starry Sky universe would not be able to react in time. If they could meet the gods of the Faith universe while waiting here, they would be able to reap great rewards. Wang Xian helped Lin Waluo set up the trap. It took them a few decades to complete it. Following which, they came to the center and waited quietly. This was a stupid method that could only rely on luck. This was also the only way. On a planet in the Starry Sky, Lin Waluo sat in front of a machine and checked the status of each detector. Wang Xian and Lan Qingwei were waiting at the side. Anlai was also called over by Wang Xian. Once they met the gods of the Faith universe, Wang Xian would get Anlai to bring them over and kill them quickly. Time passed day by day. Wang Xian and the rest were not in a hurry and waited quietly. Based on his prediction, the other party should pass by this place within 50 years. As for when they would pass by within these 50 years, no one knew. Year after year passed, year after year of waiting. At the same time, in the distant Starry Sky ahead, an army of the Faith universe and a palace was flying at high speed. More than 1,000,000 deities and believers looked very embarrassed. This incident was beyond the expectations of all the gods and believers in the universe of faith. Who would have thought that the 8 pantheon gods, as well as the 200 type 7 gods from the 2 palaces, would all be killed by the Dragon King and the others? The ancient god Kun, breeder of the Dragon Palace, already had the power comparable to the peak deities. The strength of a pinnacle pantheon. 2 existences of this level were enough to destroy the military strength of their 21 palaces. In fact, if they were slow in escaping, they would all be slaughtered. At present, the only power in the conviction universe that could rival a pinnacle pantheon was a starfield fragment. Therefore, after receiving this news, the 24 palaces of the Faith universe immediately issued the order to retreat. He gave the order to withdraw the Faith universe. This was because the Dragon Palace's Dragon King and the others were no longer something that their faith cosmos could contend against. They had to think of another way. To prevent the revenge of the Dragon Palace, he had to go back immediately. The armies of the 21 palaces quickly returned. They did not return together, but scattered. If they were to return together, they would become a bigger target. If they were to encounter the Dragon King of Dragon Palace, Faith Universe would be in deep trouble. Thus, the armies of the 21 palaces split up. Some palaces even divided the entire army into dozens of retired armies and flew towards the Faith Universe's passageway. Who would have thought that a puny Dragon King of Dragon Palace could force our Faith Universe to such a state? In the center of this army, more than 100 rank 7 gods stood in front of the astral beast. Behind them, all the gods and believers of the Faith Universe were on the back of the rank 6 astral beast in order to return as soon as possible. The other pinnacle races of the Nine Origins universe are no match for us at all, but a monster like the Dragon Palace appeared. Based on the history of the Dragon Palace's development, their rise to power was indeed monstrous. That damned Dragon King of Dragon Palace! I heard from my grandfather that the loss of the star-field fragments of the 8 palaces has already attracted the attention of the Supreme God, the King of Gods. Once the King of Gods is angered, the Dragon King of Dragon Palace will definitely die. The group of rank 7 gods discussed, their faces filled with anger. If not for the Dragon King of Dragon Palace, their Faith Universe would not be in such a miserable state and be so cautious. When we return this time, it will be time for the Dragon King of Dragon Palace to pay the price. The group of rank 7 gods spoke up. They swept their gazes around, and the 6th Order Sovereign Realm Star Beast continued to fly towards the group of people in front of them. Dragon King, there's news! Another dozen years had passed. Lin Waluo had been keeping an eye on all the surveillance information. On this day, he saw a message from a surveillance device. His eyes lit up and he immediately spoke up. Oh? Wang Xian's eyes lit up when he heard the news. Where is it located? Let me take a look. The message came from this surveillance device. Dragon King, take a look. An image appeared in front of Lin Waluo. In the image, a terrifying 6th Order Sovereign Astral Beast flashed past. On this 6th Order Sovereign Astral Beast, there were figures of the gods and disciples of the Faith Universe. Wang Xian squinted his eyes when he saw it. Send the location to Enlai, Wang Xian said immediately. Lin Waluo nodded and immediately sent the message to Enlai's mind. Enlai's figure moved and disappeared instantly. Dragon King! After a dozen seconds, Enlai returned to Wang Xian and nodded at him. I found them. It should be the strength of a Faith Universe army. The army of 21 palaces has split up. All right, let's wipe this one out first. Wang Xian's eyes lit up as he spoke. Although they had split up and could not be wiped out in one fell swoop, it would still be a huge reward to wipe out one army of the Faith Universe army. This was an army of 1,000,000, and each army had 70 to 80,000 gods. The rest of the believers were also top-notch existences below the gods. 111. Enlai disappeared with Wang Xian in an instant. In the next second, they appeared in the void. That Faith Universe army is flying in that direction. He teleported to the demonic spiritual altar left behind by Enlai and pointed in a direction. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.